The reality of the situation that we all need to go ahead and accept is that electric automobiles are the future. And when I say the future, I'm not talking 20, 30 years from now. I'm talking more like 7 to 10 years. Because the fact of the matter is Dodge has already announced that in 2024, they will be offering their first all-electric Dodge Charger SRT Banshee. GM said that it remains committed to a full electric future and has previously announced a target date of 2035. Audi planning to launch its final internal combustion engine in 2026, which means after 2026, it's going fully electric. Mercedes-Benz has also said that its electric-only future will be launched around 2030. It is 2023, guys, which means we've got 7 to maybe 10 years left on these internal combustion engines, V6, i6, V8, V12, V10s, and then the future is electric. Maybe Dodge just wants to be the first ones to the party. 5 years from now, we may look back at the decision to go fully electric this soon and say, you know what? We didn't like it when it first happened, but it makes sense. Dodge was the first ones there, and because they were the first ones, now they're the best ones. Let's talk about it. What's going on, guys? It's your boy Knockout 360 here with another video for you guys. So you can tell I'm in a car that makes this a car vlog. You already know what's going down. When I come around, let's get into it. I've got car content, car shows, car reviews, car meets, anything and everything car related happens on this channel. So if you're into that, make sure that you stick around because you are in the right place. For everyone else, hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so that you know what's coming out and when it's coming out. So GM said that it remains committed to a full electric future and has previously announced 2035 as the target date for the conversion, which means after 2035, they are fully electric. Everything that they're selling is fully electric. Everything on the dealership parking lot, fully electric. Chevy, right? Audi planning to launch its final internal combustion engine in 2026, which is what, 3 years from now? So in 3 years, they're going to be launching their last internal combustion engine, which means after 2026, they're going fully electric, all the way from the top to the bottom. Mercedes-Benz. We're getting into the luxury segment of auto manufacturers. Mercedes-Benz has also stated that it wants to be fully electric around 2030. So I'm seeing 2035, I'm seeing 2026, and then I'm seeing 2030. Now, a lot of these manufacturers do not have hard dates or hard target dates. They're basically just stating the year that they want to be fully electric. You know what I'm saying? Because truth be told, there's still a lot of money in internal combustion engines. There is still a lot of money to be made in V6s, V8s, i8s, or i6s, V10s, and V12s. And let's just be honest here, as far as our power electrical grid is concerned, our country is not ready for all electric cars at this point. I mean, certain parts of the country is more prepared than others. California is better prepped for electric future than North Carolina. You know what I'm saying? Than Atlanta, Georgia, than West Virginia, than Texas. You know what I'm saying? So needless to say, going electric right now would not benefit anyone, which is why I think everybody's scratching their head about Dodge because it's just too much too soon. No one else is doing it except for Dodge. But the fact of the matter is, guys, is that the future is without a doubt electric. If there's one thing that I realized after looking at this article is that we've got anywhere between maybe 7 to 12 years left on these internal combustion engines. I'm talking about 4-cylinder, I'm talking i6, V6, V8, V10, V12. We've got maybe 7 to 12 more years left before all of these engines are a relic of the past. And that's for everybody. That's for Dodge, that's for Chevy, that's for Ford, that's for Mercedes, that's for Audi, that's for the future. Because if I'm not mistaken, there was some sort of bill that basically stated in the state of California that by 2030 or 2035, the only cars that they're going to be selling in California, in the state of California, is electric. If that's correct, let me know. I'm not sure. I think I read that somewhere, which basically said by 2030 or 2035, they want the entire state to be electric as far as what's sold at that point, which means Dodge, Ford, Chevy, Mercedes, Lexus, everything and anything in between has to comply with that unless they just don't want to sell those cars in California. It may be a situation to where if you live in California, you got to drive to Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, somewhere like that to get your ICE automobile. Otherwise, everything that you buy in that state will be electric. The fact of the matter is, Joe Biden, I think he recently announced that he's looking forward to an electric, fully electric future within 2030, 2035. So needless to say, the target date for a lot of these manufacturers is the 2030s, the early 2030s, the mid 2030s, but the 2030s nonetheless. which means we are currently in 2023, guys. That's 7 years from now, right? So we've got 7 to maybe 12 years to enjoy these engines, these V8s, these V6s, before the reality sets in. Now, the reason that this is important and I'm bringing this to you is that obviously I agree that Dodge is doing too much too soon. I mean, to go fully electric, well, not even fully electric, but I mean, to offer a fully electric automobile next year is too much too soon, especially when you're going from the most powerful, most profitable V8s ever created. Like, let's be honest here. The reason that muscle cars are popular right now is because of Dodge. People talk shit about Dodge, but Dodge has set the tone time and time again. And we've talked about that. Dodge has set the precedent that, you know, we're the most powerful cars ever produced and we're taking over. And as a result, Chevy has been forced to step up their game. Ford has been forced to step up their game. Car manufacturers all over the world are stepping up their horsepower game to crazy levels. You know what I'm saying? All because of what Dodge did in 2015 with the Hellcat. It's hard to imagine a company like that going from the epitome of V8, you know, awesomeness, greatness, power, whatever the case may be, going from that to fully electric. You know, that's the dichotomy there is too huge. You know what I'm saying? That's literally a night and day change. It would be one thing if they went from, you know, the V8 to V8 and hybrid and then electric. That makes sense. That's what Chevy's doing with the C8, right? They're going from naturally aspirated V8 to V8 and hybrid, and then of course to electric in the future. But if you know anything about my previous video, if you watched my previous video, Ford and Chevy right now are doubling down on the V8 because they feel there's still money to be had in the V8 game right now. Ford only announced a hybrid option for their lower end Mustang. And then of course they've got the Mustang Mach-E, which is just a SUV. But as far as their performance line, everything is still V8. You know, GT, Dark Horse, the 350 to 500 will still be V8. Chevy, on the other hand, has gone a different route where they're still offering the big, you know, 6.2 liter naturally aspirated V8 in the, what's that, the ZR1, if I'm not mistaken, or the Stingray, one of the two. But they're also going to offer the E-Ray, which is going to combine that V8 along with the hybrid engine, which is, in my world, that's the best of both worlds. You know what I'm saying? Because if you configure the technology in such a way that, you know, your first 60 to 100 miles on your, you know, car is strictly hybrid, and then the remaining miles after that is your V8. You're still getting a V8 experience, you're getting a V8 sound, you're getting a V8 power, but you're also getting the benefit of a hybrid engine or hybrid motor on top of that. So I don't think that Dodge is doing things the right way, doing it as soon as they're doing it. But hear me out. If Dodge does it first in 2024, however people receive it, as far as whether or not they receive it well, whether they like it, whether they love it, or whether they don't give a damn about it, if they're doing it first in 2024, by the time 2030 rolls around, they should be experts. Meanwhile, other manufacturers are just now releasing their first generation. By 2023, by 2035, by 2030 and by 2035, that's what, 6 iterations of a Dodge Charger SRT Banshee that Dodge should have released at that point. So at that point, they should be experts in the field of all electric muscle cars. You know what I'm saying? And the reason I say that is because if you know anything about like new generation automobiles, this goes back to even the Hellcat. They always tell you never buy the first gen because there's all sorts of kinks and bugs and issues that's got to be worked out. Even when the Hellcat dropped in 2015, a lot of Hellcat owners had issues with that car because that was Dodge's first year producing a car with that, you know, had that much power. So it was one of those things like it was bound to happen. So a lot of people with first gen Hellcats were taking their shit back to the shop because it was messed up, because Dodge essentially was kind of, you know, beta testing it with the first gen. But of course, the second, third, fourth iterations of the Hellcat, perfect. At this point, they've got it down to a science. So you can imagine if Dodge drops the fully electric Charger in 24, by 2030 and 35, when everybody else is just now going to fully electric, Dodge should have things to a science. It should be perfect. It should be a 2023 Hellcat. Fundamentally sound, fundamentally perfect. It should do everything perfectly. And by that time, they would have made some iterations to the body, to the interior, to the power, all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? By that time, I don't even know, cars will probably be, you know, it'll be autopilot all day long in 2030, 2035. You know what I'm saying? Can you imagine being in a 1,000 horsepower electric car that's autopilot, that's controlling itself. You know what I'm saying? It's a scary sight. But what I'm saying is that if Dodge is the first to the party right now, and they take some immediate L's, and I say immediate L's because nobody's trading their V8 Hellcat or their V8 Scat Pack for an electric Charger. Nobody's doing that, you know, unless you've always wanted an electric car and that's your jam, you know, that's what you do, then do it. But I would personally, I'm not trading my Scat Pack in for an electric Charger. And when the time comes for me to get a Hellcat, I'm damn sure not trading that in for an electric Charger. But they take those immediate L's. But in the long run, they're the first ones and the best ones to do it because they did it first and they perfected it first. And I think that's what Dodge is looking at right now. They may be looking at it like, listen, we destroyed the V8 game. We were the best ones to do it. And they were. They built the biggest V8s, most powerful V8s, and they put that V8 in everything they could. They put it in the Jeep. They put it in the Trackhawk. They put it in the damn Durango, 7-seater Durango. Nobody was thinking about that. They put it in that. They put it in the truck. They put it in a sedan. They put it obviously in their two-door muscle car. They put it in every single car they could imagine. They even put it in the Chrysler 300 with that 392. And they killed the game with that. They revolutionized V8s forever. You know, 10 years from now, when we're talking about V8s, you would be stupid not to mention the 392 and the Hellcat and even the 5.7. You would be stupid not to involve Dodge in those conversations 10 years from now. Dodge will forever have its place in the V8 conversation. And I think that they understand that, you know, we came, we saw, we conquered. We did what we needed to do. You know, we left our mark on the industry. Now it's time for us to shift our focus to the future and go ahead and leave our mark on the future. We hate it right now. I hate the idea of an electric anything, muscle car, an electric, you know, daily drive, electric sedan. I hate the idea, period. But 10 to 12 years from now, we will look back and say, Dodge did it first. And because they did it first, now here we stand in 2030 and 2035. And we will be able to say, damn, they did it first and they did it the best because they had almost a 10-year head start on all the other manufacturers. Ford is doubling down on their V8. They're not going electric anytime soon. Chevy is doubling down on their V8. They're going hybrid, but they're not going fully electric anytime soon. Nobody else is going electric as soon as Dodge is. So needless to say, Dodge will be the guinea pig for the market. You know what I'm saying? As to whether or not people want electric performance cars. But if they're the first ones to do it and they do it the best, and we give them time and we give them grace and we give them mercy, they may be able to produce the most powerful, luxurious, future-proof car ever built, simply because they were the first ones to the party in 2024. 10 years from now, we may look back and say, you know what? We hated it, but they did that and they did it right. And they were the first ones to do it. I'm just trying to get you guys to think about something different, because after I read this article and I came to the realization that all of these other manufacturers are talking about an electric future, it's inevitable. We're not going to have V8s 10 years from now, guys. It's just a fact of the matter. Driving your car is going to be a quiet, respectful experience. It's not going to be loud accelerations. It's not going to be exhaust noises. Everything's going to be controlled. If there's one thing I can say about these cars is that they're uncontrollable. In the future, electric cars, everything will be controlled, which is going to lead me to another topic that I'm going to talk about in another video, kind of a conspiracy theory that I have with electric cars and kind of being able to control electric cars, if you know what I mean. Because if we have control over electric cars, I'm no telling who else has control over those cars. Like right now, you can't shut down my combustion engine. I have that power as the driver. But if it's electric and everything is connected to the grid and everything's connected to the cloud, no telling. But, you know, that's conspiracy me right there. But GM, Mercedes, Audi, Ford, all of these companies have plans of going fully electric within the next 10 years. So needless to say, an electric future is the future for everybody. So maybe Dodge just wants to be the first one to the dance so that they can practice their moves, iron out the kinks, so that when everybody shows up, they're already perfect. That's kind of what they did with the Hellcat in 2015, if you think about it, right? They were the first ones to drop a supercharged monster of a V8 engine, right? especially V8. They could have considered a V10 or a V12. That's what they had in the Vipers, but they specifically wanted a V8. They were the first ones to do it. They had issues initially, you know, but eventually they ironed them out, perfected it, and now the V8 is what it is today. Maybe that's what Dodge is doing with the electric, you know, muscle car of the future. They want to be the first ones so that eventually they'll be the best ones. Talk to me. How do you feel about it? Maybe I'm reaching. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, guys, the future's coming. Like, electric automobiles is here. It's coming eventually. We got 7 to 10 more years to play around and do donuts and make loud noises and rev and all that stuff. We got 7 to 10 more years of that to play around. But after that, reality sets in. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be Jetsons. It's going to be iRobot. You remember those scenes in iRobot where all the cars were electric and all you heard was the wind and the tire noise? That's going to be the reality of our cars. All you're going to hear is wind and tire noise. No cap. You know what I'm saying? So talk to me, man. How do you feel about that? The future is inevitable. And Dodge is just the first one to it. See you in the next one. Peace.